When Linda, a 55-year-old teacher, first noticed her feet swelling and her energy slipping away, she thought it was just the wear and tear of age. But when her doctor told her she was already in stage 3 kidney disease, the word chronic sank like heavy concrete. She feared the road ahead meant dialysis, endless hospital visits, and losing the independence she cherished. But what if there was another way? What if something as simple as what you pour into your glass each day could change the direction of your kidney's story? I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Vital Science for Seniors. In today's journey, we'll explore how 8 natural drinks, paired with one overlooked daily habit, can help cleanse, protect, and even strengthen your kidneys. Stay with me, because the simple choices you make today could be the very ones that keep you off dialysis tomorrow. Kidney disease is a quiet thief. It often hides in the background, creeping along without dramatic symptoms until it has already taken much from you. By the time swelling shows up in the ankles or fatigue weighs down your mornings, the kidneys have usually lost a large part of their strength. The risks are heavy: dialysis, blood pressure spiraling, independence slipping away. But here's the part that too few people hear. These little organs are not doomed to fail. With the right support, especially from what you drink daily, they can respond, recover, and even surprise you. When I first sit with patients who have been told their creatinine levels are rising, the fear in their eyes often mirrors Linda's story. They imagine their kidneys as broken machines, doomed to clog and falter no matter what they do. But here's a truth I love sharing. Kidneys are not fragile glass. They are living filters, capable of responding to kindness and consistency. And one of the gentlest, yet most powerful ways to offer that kindness is through the drinks we choose each day. Let's begin with a glass that seems so ordinary it's almost overlooked. Lemon water. Picture a lemon sliced open, its bright juice swirling into warm water first thing in the morning. That simple act can reshape the mineral balance inside your kidneys. The citric acid in lemon juice binds with calcium floating in your urine, stopping it from forming hard, painful stones. Think of it like a caring teacher who pairs off quarrelsome children before they fight. Citric acid keeps calcium too busy to cause trouble. For those who've endured kidney stones before, this is no small gift. A study published in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology found that people who regularly consumed citrus drinks had a markedly lower recurrence of stones. And beyond stones, lemon water gently encourages your body to flush excess sodium and fluid without robbing you of precious electrolytes. It's a natural reset button, and starting your day with half a lemon in warm water can set the tone for kidney protection. Just remember one caution: always rinse your mouth afterward. Acid can erode enamel if left behind, and the last thing we want is to trade kidney relief for dental problems. Now, from the sunshine of lemon water, let's turn to the ruby red tang of cranberry juice. Many people know it as the go-to for urinary tract infections, but few realize its role in protecting kidneys long-term. Cranberry juice contains compounds called proanthocyanidins. These act like invisible shields, making it harder for bacteria to cling to the delicate walls of your urinary tract. Without that foothold, infections are less likely to climb upward and stress your kidneys. Imagine slippery tiles where dirt simply can't stick. That's what cranberries do inside your urinary system. For older adults, especially women, this can mean fewer infections, fewer antibiotics, and less strain on the kidney's filtration job. And cranberry juice brings antioxidants too, vitamin C and manganese, that sweep away inflammation before it festers. But here's the catch. Not all cranberry juices are created equal. The bottles that read cranberry cocktail are usually more sugar than fruit, more burden than blessing. What you want is pure, unsweetened cranberry juice, sometimes so tart it makes you pucker. 4 to 6 ounces diluted with water is plenty. More is not better. Too much can raise oxalates, the very crystals that form stones. Moderation is key, and timing matters too. Late morning or with a snack allows your body to soak up the benefits without digestive upset. And then there's a humble herb that's been trusted for centuries: nettle leaf tea. Its name may not sound inviting, but inside its green leaves lies a soft strength. Nettle tea promotes gentle diuresis, encouraging your kidneys to release extra waste and fluid, without the harsh push that medications often bring. I think of it as a river clearing debris slowly but steadily, rather than a flood that sweeps everything away. Modern research, including work from the University of Maryland, has shown that patients who regularly use nettle tea sometimes experience lower serum creatinine over time, a signal their kidneys are filtering more effectively. Nettle doesn't just support the kidneys. It brings along vitamins A and C and even iron, nutrients that sustain the tissues and blood that nourish the whole body. Of course, no remedy is without its cautions. Nettle can interact with blood thinners and diuretics, so if you're on those, a conversation with your doctor is essential before you sip. Pregnant women or those with very low blood pressure should steer clear as well. And preparation makes all the difference. Steep a teaspoon of dried nettle leaves in a cup of hot water for about 10 minutes, then strain. That heat unlocks the compounds your body craves, something a cold brew simply can't match. 3 or 4 cups a week, not every day, is the rhythm that tends to work best. I'll never forget Mr. Alvarez, a retired mechanic who came to me worried about his high creatinine. He loved his coffee and sodas, but at my suggestion, he slowly swapped a few cups for nettle tea. Within months, his labs held steady, and he told me he felt lighter, less bogged down. That feeling was his kidneys responding to a small but consistent kindness. So whether it's the morning brightness of lemon water, the tart shield of cranberry juice, or the earthy strength of nettle tea, these drinks offer real, tangible ways to protect your kidneys. They may seem simple, but simple does not mean powerless. In fact, it is often the simple daily habits that add up to the most profound transformations. When we think about kidneys, it's easy to imagine them as filters only, straining out what doesn't belong. But filters can become inflamed, clogged, and fragile, just like pipes can rust and corrode. One of the hidden drivers of kidney decline is inflammation, quietly scarring the tissues over years. To fight back, we need drinks that not only cleanse but also soothe and repair. This is where tradition meets science, and where the golden colors of barley, turmeric, and dandelion come to life. Let's begin with barley water, a drink known in Eastern medicine for centuries and now finding its place in modern science. Picture a pot of simmering barley, its fibers slowly weaving into the water. What you're really creating is a broth rich in beta-glucans, fibers that reduce inflammation and even cholesterol, easing the load not just on your heart, but also on your kidneys. In several South Asian clinical trials, patients who drank barley water regularly showed lower creatinine and urea levels, signs that their kidneys were filtering more smoothly. I often tell my patients to think of barley water as a gentle broom, sweeping waste along without scraping or straining. It also has a mild alkalizing effect, balancing the acidity of urine, which lowers the risk of stone formation. And it's surprisingly nourishing, with magnesium and selenium tucked inside each cup, minerals that protect tissues from oxidative stress. Preparation is key. Rinse a quarter cup of pearl barley, boil it in 3 cups of water for about 40 minutes, then strain. The result is mild and nutty. Some like to add a squeeze of lemon or a pinch of cinnamon, but I caution against sweeteners, which undo the benefits. 1 cup a day, sipped warm or chilled, is enough. But if you live with gluten intolerance or celiac disease, barley water isn't for you. It can trigger more harm than help. And for some, it may cause bloating at first. Like any new habit, let your body adjust gently. Next comes a drink with a golden glow that almost looks like medicine in a cup. Turmeric milk, often called golden milk. For years, turmeric has been praised in kitchens and clinics alike. But its power in kidney health lies in a single compound, curcumin. Inside the kidney, inflammation travels along pathways like signals on a highway, one of the strongest being called NF-kappa B. Curcumin steps in like a traffic officer, slowing down those signals and easing the stress on delicate kidney cells. But curcumin alone is shy. It doesn't absorb well into the bloodstream. That's where black pepper plays its magic. A tiny pinch, barely a shake, can increase absorption by nearly 2,000%. Without it, much of the benefit simply slips away unused. Each half teaspoon of turmeric gives about 200 milligrams of curcumin, enough to soothe inflammation if taken regularly. But here's where timing matters. Drinking turmeric milk at night helps reduce morning swelling and even improves sleep for many of my patients. One woman, Margaret, a 72-year-old retired librarian, once told me after starting Golden Milk, "I wake up without my ankles ballooned, and I actually feel rested." It was a small ritual with large ripples. But not all versions are safe. Avoid dairy milk, which carries phosphate that burdens the kidneys, and skip flavored syrups or sweeteners that spike blood sugar. The simplest recipe is the best. 1 cup of unsweetened almond or oat milk, half a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and maybe cinnamon for taste. Warm it gently and drink before bed. Finally, let's visit a plant often dismissed as a weed, dandelion. Beneath its yellow flowers lies a root with powerful detox abilities. Dandelion root tea increases bile production in the liver, taking some of the waste-clearing burden off the kidneys. It also carries potassium, which helps regulate electrolytes and fluid balance. For someone with sluggish kidneys, this can be a relief. But here's the nuance. Too much potassium can be risky, especially if you already struggle with high levels. That's why I usually recommend 1 cup, no more than 3 times a week, often after a meal to support digestion. Timing matters, because on an empty stomach, it can feel bitter and cause nausea. Roasted dandelion root, brewed gently, is best. I recall a patient, Helen, who felt heavy with water retention. She tried dandelion tea 3 times a week. Within a month, she noticed less bloating after meals and found her rings slipped on more easily. She wasn't cured, no single tea can do that, but she felt her body cooperating again. Still, precautions are essential. If you're on potassium-sparing drugs or allergic to plants in the ragweed family, dandelion tea isn't safe. Choose organic, single-ingredient roots, not blends filled with additives. Barley water, turmeric milk, dandelion root tea, 3 very different tastes, yet they share a theme: calming inflammation, repairing what's worn, and giving your kidneys a lighter load to carry. They remind us that healing often comes in cups. Sip slowly, day after day, until one morning you realize the burden has eased and your body feels just a bit freer. When I sit with patients and listen to their stories, one theme comes up again and again: dehydration. Many older adults simply don't feel thirsty the way they once did, and so the kidneys are left working like a washing machine without enough water. Over time, that lack of fluid thickens the blood, concentrates toxins, and forces the kidneys to labor harder than they were designed to. But the solution doesn't always mean chugging plain water. Sometimes it means choosing liquids that both hydrate and heal, drinks that bring minerals, balance, and even support from the gut. Coconut water is one of those gifts from nature that often surprises my patients. Unlike sugary sports drinks, pure coconut water is nature's electrolyte solution. In a single cup, you'll find about 600 milligrams of potassium and 60 milligrams of magnesium. These minerals are like orchestra conductors, guiding heart rhythm, muscle contraction, and fluid balance. For kidneys, they help reduce stone risk and regulate blood pressure, 2 of the most common enemies of kidney health. But here's the caution. While coconut water hydrates beautifully, it can raise potassium too high for those already struggling with advanced kidney disease. That's why moderation matters. About 1 cup a day is plenty for most people, ideally in the morning or after a gentle walk. I once had a patient, Carlos, a 68-year-old gardener, who swapped his soda for coconut water. Within weeks, his blood pressure readings began to dip, and he felt lighter, more refreshed. He smiled and told me, "It's like my body actually thanks me for it." Another drink making headlines in recent years is kombucha, the sparkling fermented tea. While it may seem trendy, its roots go back over 2,000 years. What makes kombucha powerful for kidney health isn't just hydration, but its effect on the gut. Inside your intestines live trillions of microbes that constantly send signals to your kidneys. When the gut is inflamed or imbalanced, toxins rise in the bloodstream, and the kidneys must filter the overflow. But probiotics, the friendly bacteria in kombucha, restore balance, lower toxin load, and even help regulate blood sugar. This matters deeply because diabetes is the leading cause of kidney failure. In fact, a study published in Frontiers in Microbiology showed that probiotic-rich foods improved markers of kidney function by reducing something called uremic toxins, substances that accumulate when the kidneys struggle. Still, kombucha isn't for everyone. Some varieties are loaded with sugar, undoing its benefits. Others, especially mass-produced versions, lack the live cultures that make it effective. I tell my patients, choose raw, unpasteurized, low-sugar kombucha and keep the serving to 4 to 6 ounces. No more than 3 times a week. For some with acid reflux or histamine intolerance, kombucha can cause discomfort, so it's important to listen to your body. But when it works beautifully, supporting not just digestion, but the kidneys themselves by lowering the burden of toxins. Now I want to step away from drinks for a moment and focus on something even more fundamental. Walking. It may seem simple, even ordinary, but walking is perhaps one of the most powerful natural therapies for your kidneys. Imagine blood flowing like a river. Without movement, the river slows, oxygen delivery falls, and the kidneys receive less of the nourishment they desperately need. But with just 20 to 30 minutes of steady walking, circulation improves, blood pressure steadies, and blood sugar becomes easier to manage. A study from the University of Michigan showed that regular walking increased oxygenation within the kidneys themselves, helping preserve function. I think of George, a 74-year-old former mechanic. He once came to me, worried about his rising creatinine. Instead of starting with medications alone, we combined dietary changes with daily walking. At first, he could barely manage 10 minutes, but over the months, he built to half an hour. His blood sugar stabilized, his blood pressure eased down, and his lab results slowed their decline. Doc, he told me, I thought I was just walking around the block, but it feels like I'm walking myself back to life. That is the gift of small, consistent steps. Coconut water, kombucha, walking, together they embody hydration, balance, and movement. They remind us that healing isn't locked inside a pill bottle, but often in the rhythms of daily living. Each sip, each step is a quiet act of resistance against decline. And over time, these small acts add up, building resilience in the kidneys and strength in the spirit. So here's the truth. Your kidneys are not silent victims waiting for decline. They are resilient responders, ready to answer when you choose wisely each day. From the tang of lemon water to the soothing warmth of turmeric milk, from the quiet power of nettle tea to the steady rhythm of walking, each choice tells your kidneys, I'm on your side. No matter your age, healing is still possible, and your independence is worth protecting. If this message spoke to you, share it, subscribe, and join our community. Together, we'll keep uncovering simple, powerful ways to stay strong.